What a glorious, glorious weekend it has been if you are a fan of the Alabama Crimson Tide. The Crimson Tide don't give nothing but a piss. The Tide. Bliss, Bama Bliss. Heads Up Play, episode number 12. Myself, Sweaty Boy, Cowboy joining me. J-Dub is on his hiatus. We'll see how long that lasts. If it even does last, I don't know. But a glorious weekend in college football. We finally got a little bit of that chaos that we were asking for, and who else to do it but Alabama, right?
Yeah,
if nobody else was going to do it for us, we had to take care of business ourselves.
It's like that Thanos meme. They said, "Fine,
I'll do it myself."
Like we had to. Nothing was going to happen. Watching that Louisville, Florida State game, oh my God, nothing was going to happen. We had to take matters into our own hands, and boy, oh, did we take matters into our own hands. Us in the college playoff committee.
A little bit of help, a little bit of money goes a long way. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Look, and we'll get into the playoffs and the selections here in a little bit, but we'll talk a little bit about the games first. We'll talk first about the Tide and the mighty downfall of the Georgia Bulldogs. I say that Georgia's not going anywhere anytime soon. They're got out this year. I fully expect them, especially with the 12-team playoff coming next year, they're going to be competing, and I believe they probably will be the favorite to win the national championship next year.
Has to be, yeah.
Yeah. But as far as this game, the SEC championship, Alabama wins 27-24, and for the most part, aside from a few drives, a few big moments, Alabama really controlled the game the entire time.
It never felt close. The score doesn't do it justice. It feels like it was a double-digit game the whole time.
It did. If Georgia got out to the first, what felt like how Georgia plays or has played all season, letting teams get a quick touchdown on them, and then they go on these 35-0 runs, and that's what we were kind of afraid of. Alabama kind of did the opposite. It's Georgia got out to the really quick start. Bama made the adjustment on defense. And from there on, Alabama was clawing and finally takes a lead. And after that first lead with the first touchdown to Jam Miller, Georgia could not get anything going. They would score, Alabama would score right back. So it was honestly, I don't want to say a dominating performance by Alabama, but it was a pretty convincing fashion, and Georgia really just had no chance.
Besides that first drive Georgia had, I remember calling you like, oh my gosh, this thing might, because they did whatever they wanted to do against us. And then we went 2 straight drives, 3 and out. I thought, oh my God, we're probably going to lose this game right now. I was terrified. If they go up 14-0 or 10-0, we're not coming back from that. But it didn't happen, thank God. Still a good game.
Yeah. In-game adjustments by Kevin Steele and Tommy Rees. I got to give both of them credit. I did not have much faith in either one of them when they were hired. I especially didn't have faith in Tommy Rees at the beginning of the season. Woo! He, just like Jalen Milroe, has developed really, really well. They have found a way to utilize him well.
They had to change the offense around. They had to.
And in a game where we thought if Alabama was going to win it, it would be because of the play of Jalen Milroe. Jalen really didn't have his best game. He played okay, but I still don't think that Jalen Milroe has had like his breakout, like really, really, really good performance. Maybe you could say against LSU, but that's LSU's defense.
I agree. Maybe Kentucky. Maybe
Kentucky. And there's really not much more you can say.
There's nothing much. I will say it was an emotional game with it being the last SEC game on CBS. I do hate that. It was very emotional. They did the video. It was very touching. Even though, saying this as an Alabama fan, I feel like most of the video was videos of Alabama getting upset. Wasn't like, tell me, I'm just saying
you're
that.
Right. Anytime Bama get all the field rushings, kick six.
I might be wrong, but there was 3 straight videos they showed. It was Ole Miss beating Alabama, Tennessee beating Alabama, LSU beating Alabama, Texas A&M with Johnny Manziel, I just felt like it was like a complication of just beating Alabama because we are that standard. But it was very emotional. I'm not going to miss the announcers because they were saying some crap the whole game. I mean, even after the game, when they're talking about play of the game, when Black he went to go catch the ball, and they said he dropped it, and they said, "Oh, there's a game-changing play right there." Like they couldn't.
Bond on the fourth. You're talking about the 4th and 4 play at the end of the first half.
Yes, Bond, not Blake. My bad. Bond.
I think that should they have probably reviewed that?
They probably should have reviewed that.
It probably would have been called over, but it was smart play by Alabama. Hey, let's go ahead and get the next playoff before they can even think about reviewing it. And that didn't even become a factor until at halftime. And by that time, it was pointless. It was over. So, and that's just being out coached, to a degree. Kirby Smart was simply out coached in this game.
He was
plain and simple. I mean, we've heard for the past year or two now. David Pollock said it. So many people have said it.
Said it to his face.
That Alabama is undisciplined.
That was the worst thing that could have happened to Georgia was when they brought Nick Saban up there to be the analyst for the Georgia versus TCU, and they're just they're riding TCU. They're riding Georgia. They're annihilating TCU. This is Georgia. Georgia is football now. Oh no, you think Nick Saban forgot that? Oh no, he's taking notes, and my God, he's about to check in that cash in that check.
And if you're a Georgia fan, aside from that one national championship where you still got into the playoffs after getting boat raced by Alabama in the 2021 SEC championship, you played with a chip on your shoulder because everybody was picking Alabama again. If I'm a Georgia fan, I'm sitting there going, we just cannot beat these guys. What is it about Alabama and we just cannot catch them? Like you've got your 2 national championships. You've got just as many national championships as you do SEC championships. You've got less you've got less wins over Alabama under Kirby Smart than you do national championships. So
no, you're right.
That's not Kirby Smart still is the second best coach in America, but I think Nick Saban yesterday proved he's still the GOAT and he ain't going nowhere. At least until, who knows? He may retire if he wins a national championship. Who knows? But
my favorite quote of the game was after the lineman Tyler Booker. He said, "There would be no Georgia without Alabama. We are the standard."
That's right. That's right.
Georgia fans, they forget. They try to replicate. You can't replicate that. Only Bama can do that.
It's the Empire. The Empire struck back.
I'm telling you, this was it. You thought we was done, but no, we're not done. That was it. And you know what? Besides the catch, I can't really think of any controversial calls from a Bama side aspect.
No, to be Alabama really going back to the thing about David Pollock and other people saying Kirby's best coach. A big part of that was they were saying Georgia's more disciplined. Alabama's flags left and right. Since Pete Golding and Bill O'Brien have left, the flags have been cleared up. I mean, it's still bad a little bit. It ain't nothing like it used to be. Alabama won the game at the line of scrimmage and with turnovers and with penalties. And that's what missed the game. What ruined the game for Georgia. You had a offsides call or a false start, which brought you back 5 yards for that field goal, which it was doinked off the upright. Yep. That ended up being kind of a pivotal point in the game. It didn't feel like it at the moment, but going down, you needed those 3 points.
You had the pass interference call on you. I mean, it was. They didn't commit a lot of penalties, but when they did, it was at crucial moments.
Yeah.
I looked at it.
I thought this game proved Alabama won because they probably wanted it more and they were battle tested. Georgia looked like a team that had not been through this kind of game before. Georgia, it felt like they were holding the weight of 29 straight wins over their shoulder. I think back to that Swamp Kings documentary, and I don't know how truthful he was about it or genuine because it's Urban Meyer, but Urban Meyer was saying in the 2009 SEC championship, he felt like, or that whole season really, he was saying it just felt like more relief to win rather than want to win. And I think that's probably what it was like for Georgia. They probably just felt we just have to win the game rather than doing what we have to do to win the game, if that makes any sense.
No,
but
no.
all in all, we're SEC champions. I'm happy we're in the playoff, which we'll get into in a minute as well. But there were other games.
It felt like a playoff game, that game. And you know what? There was another game that felt like a playoff game, and that was on Friday night, Washington, Oregon. That game, there's only 2 games, in my opinion, this weekend that felt like playoff games, and those 2 games, Washington, Oregon. That game was electric. Oh, my gosh.
It was great. I unfortunately was not able to stay up through the whole thing because I had to actually work a little bit on Saturday, and I'm over on the Eastern time zone, so it didn't really coincide with me well. But Washington, that kind of felt the same way. Washington dominated in the first half, and then here comes Oregon.
I mean, they were 9-point underdogs. Washington was.
I think this proves Washington played some really close games, kind of like Florida State did. They won some games they won some games really closely that should not have been as close as they were. But in the end, that's one of the best wins of the season for any team, and you did it twice.
That was the biggest guarantee. Like, besides Michigan winning, whoever won that game was guaranteed to get it.
Absolutely.
That was a good game. Bo Nix, he had still a good game. Not enough to overtake Daniels, I don't think. But Penix had a really good game. But
do you think Penix now has a shot to overtake Daniels?
No, I
don't think so either. I think statistically Daniels still has it, but
I think this is
Penix
Daniels
made a name for himself.
Oh yeah, I think Penix might jump Bo, maybe.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. Now the play of Michael Penix has been, prior to that game, kind of the last 3 or 4 games for him have been kind of down. But he brought himself back up in that game for sure. And Washington, they're in a good spot. If I am Washington, I would rather play Texas over Michigan or Alabama, I think. So I think I'm still debating that. Maybe Michigan.
I have an unpopular opinion. We'll talk about that when we get into games. But by the way, that Trayshawn Holden touchdown, I don't know if you saw the highlights of that. That was
great. That was great.
That might have been my play of the week from the weekend. That was great.
That was really good how he did that. Well, moving back to the other Saturday games, the first game, I thought maybe just because it's Mike Gundy and he's so good at when he's down with getting players to play with a chip on their shoulder. This was no competition whatsoever. Texas absolutely demolished Oklahoma State. It was not pretty. I didn't even care to watch it all after the first quarter because Texas showed why they should be in the playoff.
They jumped up, I think, 21-7 at one point in the first quarter. I mean, it was just ugly, right? From the get-go, it was never close.
No. I mean, it looked like the Oklahoma State team that lost to South Alabama and UCF.
Well, how about that TikTok? It goes, Bama beat Georgia, or was it Bama lost to Texas? Bama beat Georgia. Bama lost to Texas. Texas lost to Oklahoma. Oklahoma lost to Oklahoma State. And South Alabama beat Oklahoma State. So does that make South Alabama the greatest team in college?
We should be in the playoffs. Go Jack. South in your mouth.
Us and Troy. I'm just telling you.
I mean, but that there proves that what they call the transitive property does not mean anything in college football. I mean, just because one team beats another team by something doesn't mean that they're going to beat the other team by so much.
That game was very lackluster, though.
It was. And in the night cap, and there's other conference championship games like SMU beat Tulane. That was I was actually kind of expecting SMU to win. Liberty lost to who did Liberty lose to?
They won.
Or who did they beat? They won. Who did they beat?
I'll look it up.
While he's looking that up, Troy beat Appalachian State. But going into the nightcap, if you were an Alabama fan, even if you were a Texas fan, you were cheering hard.
Liberty beat New Mexico State.
New Mexico State, that's right. If you were an Alabama fan especially, but maybe even a Texas fan, you were cheering hard for the Louisville Cardinals, and that was the ugliest game I've seen all season. I did not watch that Arkansas-Mississippi State game that was like 7-3 or whatever, but this game, oh my God. You talk about some of the worst quarterback play I've seen, especially in a conference championship game ever. Jack Plummer was
Terrible.
awful.
I don't know how you make a third-string quarterback from Florida State look better than you, but my God, he did it. I mean, and Florida State's quarterback only threw for 55 yards. Jack Plummer cannot throw the ball. He is, oh my God. Oh my God.
It was I don't know why they kept trying to throw the ball. At some point, implement the run game. Implement the run game. Like, why are you go Wildcat? I think Florida State ended up going Wildcat at one point.
I think at one point they said I think that at one point at halftime they said there was more punts than first downs combined for both teams.
Yeah, that is ugly. And to transition, I mean, Florida State, like, because of that performance, they're out of the playoffs.
They're out. Yeah, let's get into the top. Let's get into the top six.
We'll get in. So at number 1, no shocker, it's Michigan.
And I'm gonna tell you.
Let's talk about that real quick. Michigan.
I was not impressed. I was not impressed with that game. If you watch that game, there was 2 plays that put them in scoring positions. They had that punt return that put them right down in the goal line, and then I want to say it was a fumble. They recovered a fumble right there, and
they're at about the 10-yard line.
2 touchdowns right there. Besides that, they don't score. They don't score on Iowa.
No, and Iowa's got a great defense, but that also shows, like, Michigan was able to cover that 23-point spread, which we thought was ridiculous, simply because Iowa could not do any. I mean, horrendous offense. We thought they were a 10-2 team. I don't know how you're a 10-2 team with that offense right there, but I mean, that's nepotism at its finest, because Kirk Ferentz's son is the offensive coordinator. Get him out of there. I don't care if he's your son. You got to win the ball games.
That goes back to, and I've always said this, in the Big Ten, when you go after your Ohio States, Michigans, and Penn States, it drops fast.
And it gets down to Iowa, Wisconsin,
Minnesota's, Maryland. You can beat those teams. If you got a defense like that, you don't got to score 20 points. You just got to score more than, you just got to score 10, and you got it right there. But let's get into the top 6. Number 1, like Sweaty Boy says, you got Michigan. We all expected that one. 2, you had Washington. Expected that one. This is when it kind of gets a little fun. 3 was Texas. Kind of expected that one. 6, I'm gonna kind of go like how ESPN had it. 6 was Georgia. Kind of hate it because Georgia, in my opinion, Georgia is one of the top 4 teams in the
Absolutely.
I still think they're still Georgia. 6 Georgia, left is 4 and 5. They put the controversial pick in Alabama at number 4, and then Florida State number 5. And of course, the outrage on Reddit, Twitter, Facebook. Why are we putting a 1-loss team in over a undefeated team? It's simple. You had Booger McFarland, and by the way, I think he had to. They couldn't have everybody up there for Alabama. But
somebody's got to be the one to defend Florida State.
He is screaming, well, they lost 1 game, Reese, and they did what they had to do. They went undefeated. And he used to hate Alabama. But Joey Galloway goes, pull up the strength of schedule. 5 to 55. It's simple like that. It's simple. They tried every way to make it look even. But let me tell you what made me upset. I sent y'all a video, and it's the little things that I noticed. When they popped up, Bama, Georgia, Florida State, they said, Bama's best wins. Georgia, LSU, Georgia's best wins. Ole Miss, Missouri. Florida State's best wins. LSU, Louisville. We beat Ole Miss too. Put that on there.
And LSU. And what did they put for ours?
They put LSU and Georgia.
LSU and Georgia.
Put ours on there.
Yeah.
You put Louisville. I'm telling you that they tried to make it any way possible.
We played 2 more ranked teams than Florida State, and the one that we lost is in the playoffs. It's number 3 Texas.
And you know what they kept throwing in Alabama's face? And yes, it was this is the same team 2 weeks ago. They basically all but lost to Auburn, who lost to New Mexico State. And
they didn't.
And you're going to put them in over Florida State. The same Florida State, mind you, that almost lost to Boston College. The same school, Boston College, mind you, that struggled against Holy Cross, struggled against Virginia. But no, that's fine. We turn a blind eye to that.
The same Florida State that took forever, desperation, only put 55 passing yards up on a Louisville who got beat by Kentucky and Pitt.
Yeah.
Pitt.
And I hate it for Florida State? Yes.
Absolutely.
Should Florida State make the playoffs? Yes. But you know what? Life isn't fair. They were going to have to leave somebody out.
If Jordan Travis is not injured, we're not having this conversation.
No,
Alabama is not in. But that's the unfortunate reality of sports. Players get injured, and that was lined out from day one in the college football playoff since its inception. Injuries to key players matter. There is no key player bigger on Florida State's team than Jordan Travis, and within the past 2 weeks against a bad Florida team and the worst 10-2 team that I've ever seen, Florida State has looked like hot garbage. It makes no sense. Are they deserving? Absolutely. But the word deserving has never, ever been used in those committee rooms. And it is about the 4 best teams. And Georgia is one of the 4 best teams, just like you said. But somebody's got to be left out. You have to give Michigan and Washington their due. You have to give Texas their due if you're going to put Alabama in there. Yep. And between Alabama and Florida State, you cannot string together an argument for me for Florida State. They're going to get boat raced.
It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. I'm telling you. And, they're drawing comparisons to that 2014 Ohio State team with Cordell Jones. They said, well, look at this. Ohio State got in with a third-string quarterback. Do you remember they beat Wisconsin 59 to nothing in the Big Ten championship?
You struggled with Florida and Louisville. Struggled.
By the way,
it's not the same.
With Florida's second-string quarterback. Second string.
Yes, I would venture to say that Florida probably would have won if Graham Mertz played that game. But it's a different conversation. So is it sad for Florida State? Absolutely. I would have loved to see Jordan Travis in the playoffs, not over Alabama. But this team just beat the number 1 team in the country who has been considered number 1 in the college football playoffs since the first rankings. Went and beat them. You cannot leave that team out. You cannot leave that team out over a team that just struggled with Louisville.
No, you
and
can't.
is on the third-string quarterback. I'm sorry.
And they always say they're not going to leave the SEC out. You can't. You can't. They try to say that it was a down year. Our down years are some of the best conferences' best years.
Well, and people are complaining, to the point of you can't leave the SEC out. Well, the committee's in it with the SEC. All they care about is money. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Florida State. Join the SEC. That's your fault. Get in a better conference. The ACC is a glorified group of 5 conference. They have consistently, since the inception of the college football playoff, they have been, if not for the Pac-12, the worst conference in college football. If not for Clemson.
If not for Clemson, they would never have a team in the playoffs. You had that one Florida State team in 2014, I believe. That first year of it. That's it. It
is a glorified group of 5 team or conference. So I'm sorry. And the ACC has bylaws or whatever which prevented us from going to the 12-team playoff already.
I was actually about to read it to you. In February 2022, there was 3 members of the Alliance, ACC, Big Ten, and Pac-12, all voted against the college football playoff earlier than 2024. So you could have been in the playoffs this year. Nope.
Sorry. That's your fault. Your conference's fault kept you out of this. I'm sorry. No room for complaints. And I get it. If you're a Florida State fan who has no control of that, I totally understand. If you're a Bama hater, a SEC hater, you have every right in the world to be mad, but it just is what it is. This is the best 4 teams, and it ain't close.
They kept saying, and I kept saying it to you all throughout the day because we was staying in touch. They kept saying, "Give Florida State a shot. Give them a shot." Why are you saying that? If you keep saying give them a shot, they're going to lose. You know that. I don't understand that.
All of this is going to be answered when they play Georgia. Okay, Alabama, the team that got in over you, just beat that team. Go beat them. If you really think you should be in over Alabama, go beat Georgia. Go do it. But now, and we're salty Alabama. We're not salty Alabama fans. We're just being Alabama fans here. I'm sorry. But I've seen a ton of people say Florida State should consider boycotting the Orange Bowl, not even going to it. Okay, well, that just proves everybody's point, because that says that you are scared of playing Georgia because you know that you'll lose.
Well, you know you'll lose. What good is that going to bring you? You think that playoff committee's going to go, you know what, guys? Let's stop. Let's change our decision. Let's put Florida State in. It's just not going to happen. I'm telling you. It's child. I mean, I get it. I would be upset too, but I don't
I hate it for like Mike Norvell. I mean, but another point. It's hard to cut you off, but even with Jordan Travis, like Florida State did not look good in a lot of games. What you talked about Boston College, Clemson, like. Florida State, by the congratulations.
Way, got lucky against Clemson. If Clemson didn't miss the kick, they would have won to overtime, and God knows what would have happened to them. Kind of the same with Texas. But, they kept saying all day that they had asked the committee members, because they have head coaches on there. They said, if you are a head coach, what team would least like to play? And every single one of them said Bama. I mean, why would you not? I mean, Bama? Or a third string or second string quarterback in Florida State. It's not even hard. Whoever got Florida State would have been Michigan, would have been a bye week. Well,
and that video that you sent, I'm sure everybody's seen it by now, of when Michigan, all those players who were at that watch party saw Alabama pop up on that screen at number 4 and not Florida State. The audible gasps and moans, that proves it should be Alabama. I mean, they wanted a cakewalk in Florida State.
If you're an Alabama fan, that is the most perfect matchup. Michigan, they want to play physical with you. They can't pass the ball. All they're going to do is run the ball. They want to play physical with you. Well, guess what? We're going to get physical with the Big Ten. But I hate it for Florida State. I really do. But I just don't understand. If you think you know ball, who you think Florida State could beat? Bama, Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Texas. Do you think Florida State could beat all? Do you think they could beat the top 4? Do you think Florida State really has a realistic shot at winning the? Because if you don't think they have a realistic shot, they shouldn't even be in the playoff. If you keep saying, give them a shot, man, let them have it, let them have their try. They're not like a kid at the carnival. Let them have a try. Just let anybody up there.
And look, a lot of their point is, we're undefeated. Alabama's got a loss. Okay, let's look at last year. Similar situation. Should we put one-loss TCU, who has not looked that great, in, or two-loss Alabama?
And they just lost the conference championship to Kansas State, who was terrible at the time.
Yeah, you're right. And Alabama goes and beats Kansas State.
And beats the. Back to your point, though. Did we put them in, or did we put a 2-loss Bama team in? Mind you, 2-loss Bama team that's only lost by a total of 5 points. I can still argue to this day that we should have been in the playoff. But I'm glad that they made the right decision. Brandon Walker from Unnecessary Roughness. I know you don't really like his show that much. I kind of like.
No, I like it. I just think that their takes are awful. I listen to like every episode.
He said, and I thought it was perfect. This is by far, I think, in the 10 years it's been around, the best format they've ever had. The best.
No, it is. I mean, when you look at, I looked at like all of the other playoff teams or like playoff teams throughout the years. This is definitely the best. I mean, you've got 3 blue bloods and then a Washington team who is also very historic. But I mean, especially the Rose Bowl. The king of college football in Alabama against the winningest program of all time in Michigan together in the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl. 2 of the probably, I would say Alabama and Notre Dame are probably the most historic.
It's the first game, too. It's the first game.
Yeah. I would say Notre Dame is more historic than Michigan, but Alabama and Michigan in the Rose Bowl, like how much better can it get?
And let me tell you, I'm excited because I'm gonna be on my honeymoon while it's going on.
Yeah, you are.
And I'm telling you, I already know it because we're leaving out of Fort Lauderdale, and there's gonna be so many Snowbird Michigan fans.
You better wear your Alabama gear. And you better get in that place early.
And boy, oh man, I'm excited. I'm pumped. I am pumped.
For those that don't know, I'm up in Michigan right now for work. I'm in Grand Rapids. And after I found out that Alabama was going to the playoffs, I was like, I need to go to the grocery store. And I put on my Bama hat, put on my Bama jacket, walked into Walmart, and I was like, I want all the dirty looks. And I didn't get any. But it is what I think it's more Michigan State fans over here. But yeah, I am beyond excited. Again, poor Florida State, but it just kind of is what it is. You can boycott the college football playoff all you want. We're going to a 12 team next year. So,
and did you see the graphic when they popped it up, the 12 team?
Like who would play who? I didn't see.
Oh, it was great. It was great.
So who would we be playing?
We would be playing the 12th seed. We would be playing the winner of the 12th and the 5th seed. And so it would have been Florida State versus, I think, like Liberty.
Can you imagine Liberty in the college football playoff?
That's the thing. That's going to be the biggest argument, I feel like, with the because they're going to take. They said they want to take one non-Power 5. That's going to be the big argument. Well, so we got a little bit of time. Let's talk about the New Year's Six bowls. We are going to have a bowl prediction, and we're not really going to give our predictions for these New Year's Six. We'll just kind of talk about them. We'll talk about the New Year's Six bowls, and then we'll talk about 2 bowls that we like. And then our next episode, we will have a bowl prediction episode where we talk about our bowl predictions. So let's talk about the New Year's Six bowls. Again, the Florida State versus Georgia. They really don't do a lot of 5 versus 6, which I think they should, to be honest. I think they should do that more often.
I think that should be every year because on the screen when they do the revealings, they always have 5 and 6 together at the bottom. So it kind of makes you think that they're going to play each other, but they don't. But I think if Jordan Travis was playing in this game, incredible matchup. I'll go ahead and give you my prediction right now. Georgia's going to beat the crap out of them.
I'm telling you.
I mean,
it depends, though. Let me tell you why. I'm not saying that they're going to upset them, but right now the line's at minus 12 points for Georgia. It depends if Brock Bowers plays. And that's the thing nowadays. It's these bowl games. It's these players decide they want to play. If they want to play, I think it's Georgia, but it just depends on what happens. But and it's in Miami. I like that matchup a lot.
I'm gonna watch it. I think it'll probably be a beatdown, but I'm gonna watch it.
I got a feeling that that's gonna have a very what's the word, like a playoff vibe.
The 2 teams of the left outs, right? Yeah. The teams that just couldn't get in there. The team of disappointment.
Like they deserve to be in. They're good.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They're good. So
well, let me before you move on. Should they shouldn't, but do you think Florida State, if for some reason, God decides to play sandbox and Florida State beats Georgia, do they hang a national championship banner up at Campbell Stadium?
I don't think so. Walker? I don't think so because they've actually won it before. I think
so too. I think they made fun of UCF when they did that, so they can't be doing that now.
They can't be doing that. I think if Bama goes out, and I'm not saying this will happen, if Bama goes out and loses to Michigan, and then they beat Georgia, oh God,
all hell will break loose.
It'll be terrible. But
I will say, good riddance with the 14 playoff. I do like how it brings the drama, but good riddance.
I'm about to say, I'm glad it's over. More football, everything. How about this next game over in Arlington? I don't think I like this matchup. I think it's going to be fine. It depends who plays. You got the Goodyear Cotton Bowl. You got Missouri versus Ohio State.
I'm right there with you.
Being a 7.5 point. It's just weird, I guess, seeing Missouri in a New Year's Six bowl. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, though. I think this is going to be a big game for Missouri, but not. Ohio State has been bad about this too, with players sitting out. With like we saw, like Joey Bosa or Nick Bosa was out for like the whole season in 2020, basically.
If I was a betting man, that Harrison is going to be out this game.
Marvin Harrison is going to be out. Smith and Jigba is going to be out. Travion Henderson is probably going to be out.
Smith and Jigba, he plays for the Seahawks. Yeah, he plays for the Seahawks.
Oh yeah. Oh no, not Smith and Jigba. The other one. Good, the other African sounding guy. You know who I'm talking about.
Okay.
The other wide receiver.
Let me look it up.
Pause.
But I think it's going to be, looking at it kind of crazy now. They say Alabama. They said the SEC is having a down year. Then explain to me why we have 3 teams in the New Year's Six Bowl.
No, I agree.
I'm big on that. Then explain to me how we. But you're talking about Ibikwa.
Yeah.
I butchered the name.
But yeah, if one or more of those guys sit out, it might swing more Missouri's way. But probably going to be Ohio State. What do we got next on the list? I don't have my phone in front of me with the list.
What about at the Peach Bowl? You got Ole Miss and Penn State. Penn State 1.5-point favorites. I like this one a lot. I think this is when
it's a unique matchup.
It's a matchup I feel like they don't play a lot. I really like this Ole Miss team. I do. I like Jackson Dart. I think he'll play in it. It's in Atlanta, so basically it's practically a home game for Ole Miss.
Yeah, I mean it's Yankees versus the Southern team.
I think this
I like it.
I think this is that must-need New Year's Six Bowl win for Lane Kiffin after losing it that 1 year with what's his name being injured, Matt Corral being injured against Baylor. I think this is that New Year's Six Bowl game that he needs to win. That'll be a good one. How about this next one? I kind of think this should have been in like it's Oregon versus Liberty. They have Oregon 19.5-point favorites.
You have to have some of these bad matchups in the bowl games.
Yeah, but Oregon
and Liberty. I mean, Liberty's good. Like they just won their conference.
13-0, yeah. But Liberty, Oregon.
And which bowl is this?
Fiesta Bowl out in Glendale, Arizona.
Yeah, you're gonna get all the Oregon fans down there.
I feel
if they even care to go.
I feel like this should have been in Atlanta, close because Well, I feel like the Peach Bowls usually where like they have the non-Power Fives play at.
No, I think you're right. Well, it's usually like the top group of 5 and maybe like one of the mid-tier Power Fives. I think is usually what's at the Peach Bowl.
If I was the committee, I probably would have switched them. I would have had Missouri playing Liberty and then Ohio State playing Oregon.
That would be a much better matchup. That would have been much more fun to watch. That would have been a great TV ratings.
That would have been insane. All right, now Sam, tell me your 2 good bowl games that you like the matchup. You just like it's too good. It's gonna be a good game. You can tell.
All right, so one of them was Ole Miss and Penn State. I like the high-pollutant offense of Ole Miss going up against the high-pollutant defense of Penn State. It's 2 coaches who we've always kind of been like, when are they going to finally get them some? Lane Kiffin and James Franklin. It's North versus South. That's going to be really, really interesting to me. And then my other one is the Texas Bowl. And sure enough, two old foes of the old Big 12, Oklahoma State and Texas A&M. I'm really interested in that matchup. I don't think Mike Elko would coach that game. I don't think he's eligible to coach that.
Yeah.
But that's probably not going to be a great game. I would probably take Oklahoma State over that, or over A&M in that game. But, I mean, just the 2 old foes from the old conference from 15 years ago finally coming back together at the Texas Bowl of all places, that's great to me. I'm excited to watch that one.
My 2 is I have the Music City Bowl. This is for John. The Auburn Tigers versus the Maryland Terrapins. I really like this matchup. Talia Tagovailoa versus that kind of defense. Auburn against that. I mean, I think that's going to be a high scoring game. I really like that one. Auburn is favorited by 2.5 points. And then my other one I have is I know what game it is. I just got to remember what bowl it is called. All right, yeah, I got it right here. The Alamo Bowl. I love it. It's Arizona Wildcats versus the Oklahoma Sooners.
Early prediction, and I might be thinking a little bit. I might not be thinking on it. Give me the Arizona Wildcats.
I like that.
I like this Arizona team.
And I'll tell you one more. I'm just seeing it because it's been in the news, and I'll tell you why. It's the Pop-Tarts Bowl with North Carolina State versus Kansas State.
I like that. Okay, read through the list and let's talk about let's talk about some of these names because we get some new ones every year. Pop-Tarts, I like that.
You got the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl.
That makes no sense to me. Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, like
Reliquist Bowl.
Oh yeah, the Reliquist. Yeah, that's been around for a minute.
The Arizona Bowl, that's Barstool's Bowl.
Yep.
You had the Music City. You had the AutoZone Liberty Bell. What does AutoZone have to do with the Liberty Bell? God knows. I like this one. Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl.
I like that. Okay.
The good old Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. Valero Alamo Bowl. Pop-Tart Bowl. So apparently the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Where is that?
It's in Orlando. I guess it took over.
Oh, it makes sense.
Apparently it is like the mascot is editable or something like that. And they're going to be able to eat the mascot. Next one, you got the Pinstripe Bowl up in at the Yankee Stadium. It's the Bad Boy Mowers. You got Wasabi Fenway Bowl up at Fenway Park.
Wasabi.
What's up, dude? The Tax Act Texas Bowl in Houston. You got the DirecTV Holiday Bowl. I like this one. This one's my favorite because of what they do. The Duke Mayo Bowl.
Oh yeah, pouring the mayo all over the winning coach.
The Military Bowl. Okay, and it's in Annapolis. If it's called the Military Bowl, I feel like you should have Virginia Tech and Tulane. Is Virginia Tech and Tulane? You got to have a military team in there.
Yeah, but I mean, all the military teams like they play each other through the regular season. So I mean, but
you got the Guaranteed Rate Bowl and the Surf Pro First Responder Bowl. Quick Lane Bowl, Easy Post Hawaii Bowl, Las Vegas Bowl, 68 Ventures Bowl in Mobile, Idaho Potato Bowl. That sounds real. That's a tongue twister. Idaho Potato Bowl.
It's so weird. Some of these, back in the day, like before we were born, like the bowl games did not have a sponsor. They just were like the Orange Bowl or the Sugar Bowl, right? Now it's all like this corporate thing. They don't mean anything. But some of it's all oddball companies that sponsor these things. Pop-Tarts. But yes, let's run real quick. We will be back because of a situation. All right, we're back.
We are back.
Some technical difficulties.
If you know it was guy stuff. All
right, back to the bowls that we're talking about.
We was on the Idaho Potato Bowl, my favorite kind of bowl. You got the Armed Forces Bowl I don't know why I can't say Armed Forces Bowl, not bad. Camellia Bowl, not bad. My favorite, the Birmingham Bowl. You can't beat that. That's just football. That's ball.
Is there a sponsor for the Birmingham Bowl, or is it just the Birmingham Bowl?
Birmingham is.
That's right. I guess the city sponsors it, maybe.
Gasparilla Bowl by Union Home. See, the people I just love it. Roofclaim.com, Boca Raton Bowl, Scooters Coffee, Frisco Bowl in Frisco, Texas.
Scooters Coffee. I've never even heard of that.
Sounds like Scooters Bar in South Park.
Yeah.
You got Myrtle Beach Bowl, sponsored by Myrtle Beach. The Independence Bowl by Radiance Technologies. The LA Bowl in Inglewood, sponsored by LA. The New Mexico Bowl in Albuquerque, sponsored by Insulin. I don't know how to pronounce that. Avocados. Mexico Cure Bowl in Orlando. That don't make sense. I is it in Orlando? It is called the Avocado Mexico Bowl. The Avocado Mexico Bowl, and it's played in Orlando. Don't make sense. RL Carrier's New Orleans Bowl. In New Orleans, of course. And then lastly, probably my favorite bowl name, the famous Toastery Bowl.
Oh, I love them. I love these.
Imagine you work hard all year and you're like, I got into the Idaho famous, what was it?
Idaho Potato Bowl?
Idaho
Potato Bowl?
Famous Idaho Potato Bowl.
Yes. We may have lost to so-and-so, but we are famous Idaho Potato Bowl champs.
I would love to see what the swag bag is for those.
Nothing but potatoes.
Well, out of all the traditions, you have like the Cheez-It. They poured some Cheez-Its on them. They have the mayo, dump mayo on you. Apparently now you're gonna eat a Pop-Tart. My favorite bowl growing up was the Outback Bowl, because you had, if one team won, you got a bloomin' onion the next day, or if the other team won, you got free coconut shrimp. So my God, me and the Knicks household, you pulled for whoever had the bloomin' onion.
I don't know. I like me some coconut shrimp.
That was I feel like that was like the first crazy bowl thing, was the Outback Bowl.
I agree. Well, that sums up our bowl preview, I guess. We'll have, maybe next episode, we'll go into our predictions as we get into the off season now, because I mean, these top four teams we got a month.
We gotta have an episode. We gotta have an episode about, and it's wide open, that transfer portal. My God, this is probably the craziest I've ever seen it.
Riley Leonard, where will he go? Where will some of these other people go?
Will Rogers,
we don't know.
Will Howard. There's so many names on here.
But John Rivers, to end us off, you have a question of the day.
Question of the day. You know, holiday season's here. It's crazy to think we're in December, but
so quick this year has gone by.
What is the most overrated Christmas movie of all time?
Most overrated Christmas movie. All right. Some people might hate me for this. I've never liked it, even when I was a kid. The Grinch. Specifically the live-action Grinch with Jim Carrey. I like Jim Carrey. I hate that movie. As
a kid, that used to terrify me.
I know. I was scared. The Who people look weird with the noses and the ears. All the weird contraptions that they had. It was a weird, wonky world that they lived in. I don't like that movie. I don't like it one bit.
I can give you two movies. You ready? First one.
Oh, two.
I can give you two right now because I really hate them. The first one is played at every Christmas party ever growing up as a kid. I bet you know what it is.
Every Christmas party?
Like in middle school and all that. Elementary school.
The Polar Express?
The Polar Express
what?
I hate that. It's so dumb.
I love the Polar Express.
We got it. And I think the reason why I hate it is because I was forced to watch it every year growing up in middle school. But I did not like that movie. It's just about a train. I don't understand. I'd rather watch something else. I'd rather watch Bullet Train than just that one. I don't know. All right,
what's your other one?
Oh, this one. This one is going.
All right, let me try to guess what it is. Give me kind of explain it a little bit. Give me a hint so I can guess.
It is just, they claim it as probably the greatest one of all time. I think it's so overused.
Is it what, like a Christmas Story or Home Alone?
It's Elf. I think Elf.
Oh, yeah. I like Elf. I think it's funny. It's nowhere near as funny as I think a lot of people make it out to be.
I agree. I don't think it's... I think it's kind of like Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas." It's one of those I like.
I hate that song.
It's just you overdo it every time. The greatest Christmas. You know what? Now leave my second question. What's the greatest Christmas movie in your opinion? I'll give you mine right now so you can think. Mine is the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
As I've gotten older, that's probably become my favorite. But I think from a kid on, probably Home Alone. I love Home Alone. I don't like Home Alone 3 and beyond. I only like the Macaulay Culkin ones, 1 and 2. Yeah. Since we're on this, least favorite Christmas song.
Song?
Or no. Let's do. What is your favorite Christmas song?
I'd probably have to go Mariah Carey just because.
You just say.
I'm just saying they overuse it. They overuse it.
Okay.
I like the song. I like that one, and
I would say "Last Christmas" by Wham.
I'm about to get really country on you with this one.
Christmas in Dixie. Is that you?
The Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers duet. I mean, I forgot. They just got so much like just bangers. I recommend go on Spotify, on Apple Music, whatever you have, and look up the Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers Christmas duets. There's just bangers after bangers. I could listen to that. That's all I listen to throughout Christmas.
All right. It sounds like it from the Knicks household. Well, that does it for episode 12 of Heads Up Play. We will see you. We're kind of doing these episodes on a whim.
We're trying to time it up, everybody. When I'm getting married at the end of the month. My life will be over. My life will be over. So, John and Sweaty Boy are in the wedding along with others, and we might have some guest appearances. We are trying to get it measured up to where the final episode before we go into the year will be the wedding and all that. We will record the episode live together in person, and we will discuss our playoff predictions, everything.
Ooh, that's going to be so fun.
It's going to be cool. It's going to be cool. Like the round table. We're going to be in there. But, yeah, guys. Yeah, episode 12 in the books.
Close that page. All right. We out.
Heads up. What?